So after what happened last season, and we all remember what happened to Florida State for the 2024 season, it was just bad. It was a really bad season. But there's a lot of optimism coming into the 2025 season. I think with the addition and bringing on the transfer quarterback Castellanos from Boston College, I think Florida State has the chance to have a bounce back season. Throughout this whole off season and in other videos, I have said at least bare minimum the bar is 6 wins. I definitely think they can at least get 6 wins. They can double the win count from last season. Something was in the water, man, from last season. But these are my thoughts and predictions on how I think they could do this season. Versus Alabama, I think this is going to be a good one. Now, I think week one of college football this year is going to be intense either way. Like, we got a lot of good matchups, but just out of the gate, I think Bama coming into Florida State, I think Florida State is more ready than Alabama is. I mean, considering both teams are getting a new quarterback coming in. And I think I just got to say, with how last season ended, what a better situation for Florida State to come out strong in 2025 than getting the first win against a team, who's probably going to have a big impact on the SEC with Coach DeBoer's second year. So give me a soft win for Florida State in week one. But then, in week two, I see a win, Kent State win, then at Virginia win. Okay, now here's the funny thing. Last season, these wins weren't guaranteed. These could be easily losses if this was the 2024 year. But now, week 5 versus Miami at home, we got a good rivalry game with the teams of Florida, but then we also got the last one, which we will get there. This is Carson Beck. This is Miami. Let's see how, Beck's doing coming back off the injury. What does Miami look like without Cam Ward, Xavier Restrepo, and some of the other weapons that the Hurricanes had last season? I think they're going to be two different separate teams. Right now, either of these games could go either way, but I don't think when you look at the 4 big games they have, Bama, Miami, Clemson, and Florida, these are their 4 big games. I don't have them going 0-4. At minimum, I could see them splitting these big 4 games 2-2, which that would be, they probably lose this one. I'm going to put a soft loss for this one, and we'll see. Let's get to the end of this one, and let's see how the rest of this goes. So after 5 good weeks, they go against Pitt. I'll have them moving to 5-0. Now, here we go. October. Road game in October, and as we can see, the majority of their home games are in the first half of the season. And the first half of the season and the second half of the season, I can see be two totally different stories for the Seminoles this season. Because look at this. Look who they got on the road to finish out the year. NC State, I have a feeling this has upset written all over it. Same with Florida, and going to Death Valley against Clemson late, in the season, middle of November. So, this Stanford one could probably be an early hiccup, very early hiccup. And then the one game where you look at when we're just looking at it where Florida State might lose one game at home, they might lose one on the road, one at home kind of situation. I would circle, definitely it could be those two, but if there's the pressure of them winning against Wake Forest and they're 8-0 sitting at that point, Virginia Tech could be that game that they drop at home towards the end of the season. If not, having already lost to Miami after starting 4-0 and then being 4-1 instead of now moving into the Stanford week at 6-0. I do think they can get it done against Stanford. Anyway, so after having all the momentum riding high, after Florida State having a huge bounce back season up until this point, new QB going 8-0, Coach Norvell figuring it out, defense, offense, everything just clicking at the right moment. We have a big matchup against Clemson, and I think this could be a preview, honestly, for what the ACC championship is, and I think it would be a good test to see the identity of how Florida State could potentially finish the whole season. I think to this point, Clemson's probably going to be 8-0 as well. I think this could be a meeting of 2 top 10 teams, potentially both undefeated up until this point, or at least one loss. But I'll take Clemson at home with veteran, Cade Klubnik and Dabo Sweeney against, who's to say that Castellanos, like, who knows if the offensive scheme that Orville has for him, what if it doesn't work? Kind of how like it did last season with DJU and the coordinators and stuff. Because again, I'm riding high, very high on Florida State having a bounce back season as a whole. Again, I think this night could have upset written all over it. Friday, late in November. That's usually when a lot of upsets happen. So you know what? Give me, because in the swamp, I will say, I mean, Florida won last year, and so I do think that Florida State could get a get back here. But I'm not going to say that Florida State wins 11 games. Wait, hold on. 4, 8, 12. Yeah, 11 games and only loses one game in the whole 2025 season. Like, I think they could at least lose 2 or 3. And so, yes. This NC State game just had... This game just... I'm telling you, this game has upset written all over it. And this game. Like, because I don't know about Wake Forest. We'll see how they do. Same with Pitt. But I think riding the momentum of starting out strong, because again, we're going to see what kind of team you are against Bama for the whole year. We're seeing what your identity is as a football team after, week 5. Because again, no offense to East Texas A&M and Kent State and Virginia, but these 3 squads are not what these 2 teams are going to be. I mean, this is potentially a college football playoff team. This is potentially a college football playoff team. This team's defending their ACC title, and they potentially will also be one of the final 12 teams standing. And so these final 4 games will dictate definitely this one and this one on, okay, can Florida State get to the ACC title game? And then from there, what are they going to look like once, we turn the calendar year and we get to the, first round 1 games? Because I'm thinking, like, if they can beat Clemson and, like, win out, I think there's a lot of momentum. Even if they, let's say they drop this one against NC State, beat Florida, end up with only 1 loss, I could see a lot of momentum riding into the postseason, kind of like how it was for Ohio State last year or Arizona State, who caught fire towards the end. But if they lose, if they lose this and then they lose this and then they end up losing 3 out of their last 4 games, I could see them stumbling and kind of being like how Bama was, or Ole Miss, or South Carolina last year, where they're on the outside looking in. But again, that's just my thoughts on this. I'm putting a lot of hype into Florida State this season. I think they could do well. But again, we'll just have to see how the season plays out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on how many games the Seminoles are going to win this season. And I'll see you guys in the next video.